So now, another thing that we want to do now, we want to look at variable declaration in C++. You're already familiar with variables. You know, we have primitive variables. So those are the variables that are traditional, that are basic to C++. So the primitive variable, we have the int, which is actually the integer. We have the float, we have the double, we have the char, and we have string. We also have, that string is we also have bool. We also have void. So these are part of primitive data types that we have in C++. We also have the derived data type like array, structure, but that's not what we want to do now. So we just want to look into the primitive data type and see the way we make use of them, the way we declare them. So these are data types. So anytime you want to declare variable, there is a template for declaring a variable. If you want to declare a variable, you must tell us the data type of that variable. Then you must let us know the name of the variable. I want to put it together. So you must let us know the name of the variable name. So this is simply declaration of a variable. So that's how to declare a variable. Then you can make use of your variable. After you have declared it, it can receive inputs and you can initialize your variable. So if you want to initialize your variable, that will be variable name. Then you put your assignment operator, then you write the initial value. So that is initialization of your variable. Your variable has an initial value, so you have to give it the value. Then sometimes it might be an expression. It might not be an initial value. It might be that your variable is a bundle of expression. So you just write the expression here. Expression like, for example, it can be A plus B. So something like that, mathematical expression most of the time. And it can also be a logical expression. It depends on what you are trying to do. So this is few things that you first of all need to know. You have to identify the type of variable you are dealing with, and you must give your variable a name. And when you want to give your variable a name, that is what we call identifier. So when you're talking about identifiers have variable names. Like for example, all babies are babies. So you can say baby is a variable name. Baby, before 8 days in Yoruba land, you don't let anybody know the name that you want to give to your baby. Everybody will call the baby. But on the 8th day, the baby will be given a name. So that is identification of the baby. So from there on, you know that this is the baby, and this is the name of the baby. So that is what we know as identifier. So you have to, when you give your variable a name, that's what we refer to as identifier, something that you can use to identify your variable. And one thing about variable declaration is that whenever you declare a variable, when you give it a name, what happens is that the compiler will instruct the RAM to create a space in the memory, and that space should be called that name. So for example, now if you want to take in scores of 10 students, so score normally most of the time is always a whole number. So let's call this, and whole numbers are integers, so we call it int score. Then you end it with a semicolon. So that score, there will be a space in memory that will be created, and that space will be called score. And the only thing that can enter into that space called score must be an integer. So that is the meaning when you write that simple, just 2 words statement. The meaning is create a space in the memory called score, and do not allow any other thing to enter into that memory except integers. So that is it. Now let's quickly, I will comment all of this so that we now write the code. So all this has become a comment. Trying variable. Save it. So the comment, the first one we want to write is maybe a program to impute score of students. So you can write a program to impute score of students. So you come down, and the next thing you should write should be your preprocessor directive. We actually need the IO stream in this case. So then we need to declare our namespace. Then our main function. So now what we want to do is from understanding and analysis of problem that you learned in 100 level, what we want to do 100 level first semester in 101 is that we want to impute score of students in a particular course. So that means that our input data is score. So we now we declare it score, write it like that. It doesn't have an initial value. So you now write your C out and ask the student to input their score. Input your score. Then you remember the escape sequence /n. It will help us to move to the next line. So then cin is the function that we use to input something through the keyboard. So what we want to input, we are not reading from a file, we are reading from the keyboard. So you just write cin, and you can see the 2 greater than signs, insertion operator that follows it. Then you will write score. You will call that variable that you want to input for, and the variable is called score. So we save this. So let's try to run it and input score. Okay. You can see the error. The spelling of namespace is not correct, so you can see that it's complaining about it. So input your score, 23. So that's the end. It's only one person. Until we get to iterative structure, we will not be able to input for more than one person. So that's how to declare a variable. This variable that we just declare is an integer, but we can make this to be better. We can also use string. In C we don't have string, we only have array of character, but in C++ we have string. So we can have first name, and last name. So those are the 2 string. Then before you input your score, you want to know your name. So when you ask for your name, so let's try to run this. Okay, no. Okay. So what is your name? Okay. You can see that this is not interactive enough. It actually asks for my name. I just and it's expecting the second one, and I don't know. Assuming I'm not the one who wrote the program, the person who is using it will not quickly know that he's expected to write the other name. So we are going to make amendment to few things. What is your name? And you write first name and last name, so that the user will know what to do. And last name. So what is your name? First name is Oyebola Akande. So input your score, 56. So that's it. Input your name and your score. And at the same time, you can bring everything up as a report at the end of the day. You can type it out that Akande Oyebola, and then you write the score of Akande Oyebola beside it. So you just write see out Akande. So you first of all write the variable name for Akande, which is the last name. That is the variable name for the last name. Then you want a space to be after Akande. So this is the way you will do it. This is the space that will be after Akande, because there is a space between when you are writing, you write your surname first and you put a space here. So that's the space I try to create with that quotation mark. Then I write Oyebola. So this is the way it will print out my name. And I will ask it to go to the next line, then something like this. So then it will also write my score. Okay, I want it to write my score. After it, I write maybe something like score. Even there should be a space before that score. Okay, so score. So score, we now call score. So that's the score. So this one now, we write Akande Oyebola score, to put my score in front. So it's like when you want to print out, this is how it will print it out. So first name, input your score. Akande Oyebola score 78. So this is what you input, but when the computer will print out, this is what it will print out for you at the end of the day. So this is a simple code. Now you have learned how to input from the keyboard, how to call variable. All we are doing here is we are calling variable. That's what we are doing here. That's how to call a variable. Later, there are other things that we are still going to call apart from a variable. We call a function. But what we are doing here, where we wrote f name, l name, score, all we are doing is calling that particular variable to come into that position. So, thank you very much.